Hi all, welcome to Spring Framework tutorial series. This is the second video of Spring Framework series. You can watch the playlist to get enough understanding about the Spring Framework. So in this video, I'll be covering what is Spring IoC or the Spring Inversion of Control means and its main use case in a real life applications. The topic that I will be covering is I will create a simple uh, Jio and Airtel classes which will implement the features from the SIM interface, and after that I will explain you what is that IoC means and the different type of Spring IoC like BeanFactory and ApplicationContext. Then I will use the XML file so that we no need to touch the source code for any type of configurations. Let's go ahead with the video. Before going ahead with the video, I would request you please subscribe to the channel to get the videos on Spring Boot microservices, REST API, and the Java. So I will open first IntelliJ IDE. So I will create a simple module called Spring IoC or just IoC. Then I will name it as IoC, then Java project and Maven. Then I will add the group ID as this com.the dev developer, and I will create the module. So it will get the module. So IOC module is created and it have on pom.xml file where we can add all the dependencies. So I will come to this pom.ioc file later. Now I will create the interface called sim and which having the two method called just calling and data void method, and I will create two different classes called Geo and Airtel, and I will implement those two uh, details or the those two methods. Let me create those. So I have created the same interface having the calling and data methods. I have created the Airtel having that I have override to those methods with calling the Airtel SIM data. I am accessing data using the Airtel SIM, and there is one more class I have created called Geo, where with the same overridden methods as I am calling using the Geo SIM, and I am calling accessing that data using the Geo SIM. Now I will create a class called mobile, and I will create a object of Jio and Airtel to print the details, and I will then explain you when the IoC concept will be comes into the picture and why we need that. Let me go to this main class. I will edit this main class only. So a refactor created a class for mobile. I will remove this first. I will access the Jio and Airtel object. Create new Jio. I will access with geo.calling and geo.data. Similarly, I'll create an object for Airtel, and then I will call the same functions with Airtel object, data and calling. Now I will run this application. You can just click on this run and it will run. Before that, it will take time to build the project because I am using Maven. So we are getting the output as I am calling using GeoSIM and I am calling using Airtel SIM. So those output we are getting, but here lot of code changes I have to done. But one thing is that we can comment out those everything, and we can create an object for object of SIM. So I'll create SIM, then I will use Airtel, then sim dot data and sim dot calling. So next time when there is a any new class comes or any new requirement like for the Vodafone SIM, then we need to update or you need to change it as a Vodafone. So here what happened, we are let me run that and this and I will explain you that what happened, that every time when there is a new requirement comes, and we are making changes in the code file. So that is not a, good practice, because we have the IoC and for the Spring Inversion of Controls. On there we can use configuration. So when there is a new requirement will come, just we need to edit this configuration without affecting the base code of the application. So we are getting that the details after calling using the Airtel, and you need to edit I again to access the Jio or Vodafone. So now that what is the Spring IoC actually means? Create the object and configure and assemble their dependencies and manage the entire life cycle of the object. So in this example, we are creating the new keyword by us, but we can use the IoC control like BeanFactory or the application context. For those, they will create the object for us, and they will manage the object. So, and as a developer, we can mainly focus on the business logic. So how to use the Spring IoC. So we need to add the two dependencies like Spring score and Spring context. Then, as I mentioned, that we have application context or BeanFactory. Those are two interface, and we have an implementation class called class path XML application context, and where we need to pass that XML file, and it will create automatically the object for us. So I will go to this Maven repository, and I will add the Spring core and Spring context. So you can go to this Maven repository. Till then, you need to add the dependencies tag. Inside the dependency, you can add all the dependency. So we have a Spring core. You can go there and use the 6.1.13 because it will compatible with Java 17 version as well, because I am using that. And similarly, I have copied it and I will paste it here. And there is one more dependency, Spring context. You can copy that dependency also. I will paste here and I will reload the application. After that, there should be a beans file where all the bean specific things about the Airtel object or about the Geo object, we can mention those things on the bin.xml file. So it will the Spring IoC will automatically create the object for us using from that XML file, and we can get a call of the calling functions or the data functions that present on the SIM interface. So I'll create a bin.xml file. So I have created the XML file with bin tag, and within the bin tag there is a bin tag will be there with ID and the class for where the for which the object should be created. So I have mentioned as Geo, and this is the class location Geo, and I can access this object using the ID Geo. So I will go to this Airtel sorry, that's mobile class, and I will just comment out to access that we have two IoC application context. So I will type as application context. So it is coming from the Spring Framework context dot application, and I will name it as application context only. Then I will create the application object for class path XML context, and you can mention the path from where the XML configuration is there. Then as we are creating a geo object, so we can store that application context dot get beans and with the id as geo. At why it is giving error? Because we need to typecast to geo. So I will typecast to geo. So now we need to access using object called geo.data and geo.calling. But here is one issue is that every next time we need to use as like Airtel. So we need to modify the things. Before that, I will just run the application. I will show you that actually the bean is geo bean is created, and we will get the details using geo.data and geo.calling. If you are still watching the video, I request you please subscribe to the channel, and if you face any issue you can ask on the comment section. Yeah, so we are getting the details as the object is being created using the Spring IoC container. So if in the beans, so because it is not a generic thing, because whenever the Vodafone SIM comes, and then we need to change with ID and the class name. So I will make it generic. So I will comment it out. So I will create as a SIM, ID as a SIM, and with Airtel. Next time you can add like Vodafone, and so like that it will create object for that specific class. So in this mobile.java class, so instead of making it as geo, so I will write it as sim and create a sim object from application context get beans, then id is sim and type will be sim dot class. Then now we can call the sim object and data. Now in the beans, as it is an Airtel, so it will create an object of Airtel and it will call the functions for calling and data. So I run the application. Yeah, so now we see that Airtel SIM is calling and we are getting the data. So next time whenever there is a new requirement like the Vodafone, you can just need to create the class and no need to create object in the bin.xml. We need to uh, just change it id or you need to create a beans for that specific class. So that's all with the video, and if you have any question you can ask me on the comment section.